We are live in theory, might not be in actuality. All right, so welcome everybody. If you can hear us, we are live streaming this, so let us know where you're listening from and also if you can hear us all together. Awesome. Cool. So it looks like we are good to go. Today we have a very special guest, a special person that absolutely crushes it on Instagram, Chelsea Bucklew. She is a Instagram and brand coach for real estate agents. Chelsea, how are you?
Hello, I'm good. I'm good. I can't complain. It's pretty chilly here, but I like that because it's Texas. What about you?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm doing well. What part of Texas are you in right now?
I live in Austin, the best
Ooh.
part, obviously.
Hey, calm down now. I'm in Dallas Fort Worth. I might have something to say about that.
You're only a quick drive up the road. You can come down.
I will visit you actually, because I do have a trip down there, not this month, but the following month. Cool. Well, Chelsea, we are here to talk Instagram. We're here to talk Instagram for real estate agents. Full admission. The reason I wanted to have you on was because you are much better at it than I am. I'm more on the paid side. I can really make Instagram ads work and make all that fun stuff happen, but that's from the paid side. So you're clearly very well versed in the organic side. So really am excited that you can share some wisdom with us. And you were talking about it as we were getting ready to come live, that there's a strategy that you use that really works in any market. Is that right?
Yeah. So I mean, there's several different strategies that can be used on Instagram to optimize engagement, but really you need to be using multiple of them simultaneously. So paid advertising is like it's an amazing aspect to the social media game in general, right? Like that's huge if you have the budget for it. But the thing about real estate agents is most of us don't have a paid advertising budget for a substantial amount of years. So how do you really get the ball rolling? How do you get the business? How do you get the engagement organically to get yourself to a place to, maybe one day you can do paid ads, but to start generating those leads and getting clients like way sooner than if you were getting paid ads. And I'll give you guys three major tips on how to like really, really up your engagement game. And it really just starts with being searchable, right? So if someone's coming to Instagram to look for a real estate agent in Dallas or Houston, right? They're going to search Houston Realtor. So that is what needs to be part of your name. And a lot of people don't really realize that because, yes, it's great to use your name. My name is Chelsea Bucklew. But then next to that, it says Austin Realtor because you want to be so searchable that you're coming up in those first searches that people are initially making when they're searching in your area for what they need. It would be the same for any other niche, Austin hairdresser, Austin mechanic, whatever it is, you need to make yourself searchable. So that's the first huge, huge, huge engagement win. Make yourself searchable. Use the keyword that you want people to use when they're looking for you. Then social media is meant to be social. And so many people and agents totally forget that yes, you need to be posting. Yes, you need to be engaging with the community, but like you need to actually be social. Like you can't post something and then like peace out and like go eat lunch. You have to stay and engage for like at least a solid 10, 20 minutes because as the comments come in, Instagram, the algorithm rewards people for engaging back. So if somebody comments within the first 5 minutes of a post and you're not there to respond, you can almost look at it as like they're discrediting it. Like they're like pinging you and being like, oh, nope, we're going to like drop them down. But like the more engagement you get, the more they bolster up your brand, your Instagram, and they show it to more people. So huge, huge, huge key there is be social on social media. The same goes for every other platform. Obviously, I focus on Instagram, but the same is for TikTok, Facebook, any platform you're on. It's social media for a reason. So that also goes along with when you post, right? You can't post once a week, once a month, once every here and again and hope for some sort of gigantic return and leads pouring in. If you don't have a presence, people aren't going to find you. If you aren't present, people aren't going to find you. So you need to engage with the community in order to receive engagement back. And then my third and probably the biggest key and trick to getting engagement, and the one thing that everybody is so adverse to doing when it comes to real estate, is reels. Guys, reels for realtors is like the power play. That's the money move right there, because reels are the top feature on Instagram that's going to get you in front of the masses. This is where you're going to get that leverage to the 7 billion people that are in this world, right? It's not posting on your feed, it's not doing stories, although those are both parts of the strategy that you do need to engage with. When you post a reel, utilize trending music, trending hashtags, or just the trend in general, which are typically, by the way, pro tip, the first few reels that you see when you go to the reels portion of the app. You look and see what's happening on those first few reels. Those are usually what's trending. If you copy that and then put your own spin on it, because, sometimes it'll be about cooking and it'll have some sort of audio that's funny, you can always turn that around and apply it to real estate with the text that you use. It can be applied to anything. Utilizing the trending sounds, movements, etc. on reels is what's going to get you in front of everybody you want to see you. So those are my 3 hacks for truly, truly, truly diving into getting better engagement and optimizing the tools that Instagram gives to us in order to get yourself seen and really generate the types of leads that you're trying to bring in.
I love it. Thank you so much. That's awesome. When I'm gonna go through rapid fire questions that I know that I get, if that's okay. And they may sound elementary in some way, they are, but they still get asked anyway, right? So one of the questions that I get quite often is, how often should we be posting?
Every day.
Every day.
Every day. So I like to tell my students, sometimes that seems overwhelming, particularly for those who are not either Instagram savvy or have not spent a lot of time on Instagram in general. And that's totally fine. Like, start small. We want to start in an attainable way. If posting twice a week sounds like something that you can do and you can do it comfortably and you can create quality content in those 2 posts, obviously quality over quantity is much better. But the point is to get the momentum, start feeling good about, the few posts a week we do post, and continue to add to that, continue to grow and build. Because ideally, the more you post, the more exposure you're getting, the more engagement you're getting, the more eyes are seeing you, and the more leads you will get in turn. You will only get out of Instagram what you put into it. So it's huge to remember that, yeah, it's great to start small because it's great to just start in general, but you're going to see a small return. And then if you up it a little bit, you're going to see more of a return. And then you keep going, and that's when it starts to funnel in. So you really have to stay consistent.
I love it. I love it. What's the consensus on hashtags at the moment? Like, I know there's a limit. So I don't know what the number is, but there's a limit. What how many are we putting in our posts?
So this is an ever-changing thing, right? The algorithm is the beast of all interwebs, in terms of nobody knows what it is and nobody knows how to beat it. We just know how to figure it out until it changes again. So unfortunately, there's no like, this amount of hashtags will 100% guarantee this. But right now we're saying anywhere between 10 and 20 hashtags is like a good chunk. Some people say 20 is the sweet spot. I lean into like 20 to 30, to be completely honest, because that's what works for me. But the other part of this is, there isn't a one size fits all on Instagram. There never has been. And so although there are these guidelines that we know about, you still have to start testing them in your own market with your own audience to see what actually works. So if you post 30 hashtags and it just completely flops, and you do that consistently for a week, 2 weeks, and nothing's happening, let's take it down to 7, 10. Let's see what happens when we use a smaller amount of hashtags. Maybe you get more engagement, and then you found your sweet spot, and you keep doing that. The biggest thing that can really, really help you figure out your own content strategy on Instagram is figuring out which posts have done the best and continuing to post like that. People don't understand, like, they're in the market, they call them unicorn posts. When you have a post that pops off or does substantially better than other ones, that means that the people seeing your content like that type of post. So keep recreating it. You can do it with different information, different types of content, etc. But use what works for you and just keep doing it over and over again until it doesn't work anymore.
I love it. Now, as far as the breakdown, are we doing geographic based hashtags? Are we doing profession based hashtags? What type of hashtags are we talking about?
Okay, so I like to call these hashtag buckets. And when I teach my course, I teach coming up with your different hashtag buckets depending upon the different content buckets you have. So let's look at it like two buckets. We have content buckets, hashtag buckets. What are your content buckets? Well, I always advise somewhere between 2 to 3 different types of content. And that means you can post reels, you can post carousels, and you can post like still images. Or you can just do two. Or you can post exclusively reels, but have them about 2 different topics. So right now on my feed, I like to post one reel that is typically a house tour in the area to generate buyers for myself. That's what the purpose of that content bucket is. And then the second bucket that I like to post are tips and tricks for real estate agents trying to build their brand, because I have a split audience and I know I'm kind of a unique brand in that sort, because most of us are going to have one audience. But because of that, I've split my content buckets into two and I lean into one or the other. And I try to do it every other post. And because of those two buckets, I have 2 hashtag buckets. When I'm doing home tours, those buckets, I usually do, like I said, like 20 to 30. I'll do like 5 to 10 about Austin, Texas, Austin real estate, Austin, Texas, local Austin, true Austin, move to Austin, Austin realtor. I make them very specific. Then I'll do, 5 to 10 about the specific home or area. So if it's in Clarksville, 78703, live in Clarksville, move to Clarksville, that'll be specific. And then the other little bucket within that larger bucket can be either about something else I'm trying to bring in. So sometimes on those types of posts, since I'm also trying to inspire realtors to do the same type of post, I'll put realtor coach, realtor life, realtors helping realtors, to try and drive realtor traffic in to see, like, look, these are the house tours I'm doing. You should be doing these in your area too. And that's how I kind of compartmentalize them. But yes, you should always be posting some sort of local hashtags as a real estate agent, because you want to attract people in who are looking in that area. Then you want to post something very specific to what you're posting about. If it's a house tour, the neighborhood, the price, like whatever it is, like off market. That's a huge one in Austin right now. I always post off market listing because people love off market listings. And then you want to have a third one that has to do with something else you're trying to bring in, whether it's like move to Dallas, live in Dallas, relocate Dallas, like whoever you're trying to bring in, what they would be searching.
I love that. I love that. I brought up a comment in question from a longtime viewer of the channel, Dan. How many hashtags would you recommend for reels? Is it still the same amount?
Yeah, so great question, Dan. Again, it's still gonna be very specific to you and your audience. You still need to test it out. But yeah, I just posted a reel this morning and I think I did like 25 hashtags. And it's different from TikTok in that I know on TikTok, people only post like 3 or 4 hashtags because they're just not as relevant as they are on Instagram. But I have gotten so many clients to where every time I get a lead off of Instagram, my first question is, how'd you find me? Right? Because you want to
Mm-hmm.
know what's working for you.
Yeah.
And it's oftentimes hashtags. They're like, oh, I searched this hashtag and I found your post. So you just never know who's looking at your page that you can't even see because they're looking at it through a different way, such as hashtags. And I think it is really important to start large and then see which ones are working, and then you can narrow them down as you start to get a better feel for like which buckets are working, which ones aren't, and like hone in on the ones that are going to be most beneficial to bringing in leads for you.
I love that. I love that. From someone that's really, again, I'm not very well versed in Instagram at all, so I'm really deferring to you for all of this. One of the questions that I have is, what does an outreach look like from you? Obviously, you're generating business through Instagram. Is it just people DMing you? Are you offering like a lead magnet? Are you offering a reason for them to opt into something? What does that look like? Or is it a mixture of all?
So for buyers specifically or clients specifically outside of my coaching, I'm not offering them anything other than here's who I am, right? Like I'm relatable. They're getting a chance to get to know me. I show my face. I talk to the camera. They're vetting me before I even know they exist, which is amazing because it kind of cuts off having to have an initial phone call or all these initial things to get to know me. They already know what they're getting once they reach out because they've been watching for a while. So that's one thing. And then the second thing is that I'm providing the type of content that the types of buyers who are reaching out to me want to see. And that's another way to really niche down and weed out the types of people you don't want to work with. So, for instance, I'm leaning away from wanting to necessarily handle leases, which I think leases are huge, great way to get business. I by no means think you should stop doing leases if you enjoy them and you like working with those clients. But for me, I'm trying to build a network more of multi-million dollar buyers. That's just what I'm trying to cultivate. That's my goal. And because of that, I only show very expensive properties because those are the types of buyers who are going to want to see those properties, right? If my market was all people who wanted a lease, they're not gonna reach out to buy a $900,000 house. They're gonna be like, "Yo, I want a $1,500 lease," and I'm like, "I don't have that. I have this house." So you have to be really specific about making sure that the content you're providing is the type of content the types of clients you want to see because that's what's going to attract them to you, and then they're going to reach out, they're going to continue to watch your stuff because they know that you're providing them with exactly what they're looking for.
I love it. I love it. Chelsea, thank you so much for being so gracious with your time. As we come to a close, um, help the audience out. How can they best support you? How can they get a hold of you if they want to learn more? How can they get more Chelsea in their life?
Yeah, no, how can I get more of them, right? So obviously the best place to find me is on Instagram. I am on there constantly. Um, it's at Chelsea Bucklew, CHELSEA BUCKLEW. Shoot me a DM, follow me, let's have a conversation. I have tons of tips and tricks in my reel. And then outside of that, if you want to shoot me an email, it's just howdy at thesocialbrandacademy.com.
I love it. All that's going to be pinned down in the description and also in the first comment. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to her. Anything Instagram related, please, please, please do that. Do a huge favor. Don't reach out to me because I would absolutely screw it over. So she's amazing. Thank you so much, Chelsea, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Thanks. Bye.